This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome all. So today I will take Oracle Data Guard session and I hope it will help you. And let's begin with this session. And this is my achievements in terms of my certification and blog. And let's begin with, see, I will do from the basic, not I will cover everything in one session. So have patience, and most probably if I will get chance, I will do further in this data guard. So what is actually Oracle Data Guard? So Oracle Data Guard is basically used for data protection, high availability, and disaster recovery. So what does it mean? It means that suppose you have production database, so that database you can say is a primary database, and after that you will create a standby database, basically which is a synchronized copy of your primary database, and that standby database you can create up to many, and most probably the exact number is 30 standby databases you can create for one production, and all standby database you can put on different location, and geographically it should be different, and that is the thing. Those people who are not able to listen, just log out and log in, because their network has a problem. My network is okay, and I think everyone is listen my audio, or is there any problem?
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
Okay, so Oracle database basically provide a comprehensive set of services. By Oracle Datagate, you can create, maintain, manage, and monitor one or more standby databases. And gradually, from version to version, it gives more flexibility in terms of data guard, because from a standby database, you can do many things. But when it start, then on that time, it was just some limitation. And as I said, Oracle Data Guard as a standby copies of the production. And if production becomes unavailable, then your standby become will production, and so that it will minimize the downtime of your production, and that is of your data guard. And you can use data guard for backup from a standby database. You can take the backup of the production, you can do the restoration, and data guard you can configure for single instance as well as rack, so it will provide high level of data protection and data availability. And in Oracle Data Guard, transport services are also used for Golden Gate and Oracle Stream. When Oracle Stream was used, now Oracle Golden Gate is more better technology to transfer the data between two databases. And with Oracle Data Guard, you can improve administration. So that are basically a data guard. Okay, so how you will configure? So if you see this diagram, so one side you have a database and another side you have database copies, and between that net or you can say connection established, and you see read transport. So whatever the standby you will configure, it will basically you will configure through the redo transport, means you will send the redo to other location, and you can create multiple standby databases, right? So this is the general diagram of the Oracle Data Guard. And now, what are the evaluation in data guard? So it start from 7.3, basically naming, and that name is called as standby. And in version 7.3, manual transfer and apply of archive video logs introduced. So automatically it not transfer, And from 8i, table space data file operations not replicated, and it able to open read only. It is used for managed recovery, and automatic archive log shipping started. So that was in 8i. Excuse me. And just a second. Can someone give the message to Dev? I don't know. He's not able to listen. So in 9i, that is big evaluation in terms of data guard. So naming change from standby to data guard. And then in 9i, data guard broker introduced, which is the good, like Arman, there is a different tool or utility. By that, you can configure the data guard, you can manage the data guard. So that is very good technology. And zero data loss introduced, switchover was introduced, and auto data file table space operation introduced, gap detection and resolution introduced, delay option introduced, and parallel recovery introduced. And 9i released two logical standby database introduced. Then production modes were ready to use, maximum production, maximum availability, and maximum performance introduced. And then cascade standby database introduced. So that is in 9i. And in 10G, it introduced real-time apply. Means whenever your transaction is happening on production, same time standby database is also do the things equivalent to production. So both are sync. And flashback database support introduced in 10G. And in 10G release 2, fast start failover introduced and guaranteed restore point introduced. And in 11G, active data guard introduced, snapshot standby introduced, compress, redo traffic, rolling upgrade, different operating system. Means you can use different operating system for production and standby, block change tracking, lost write detection. So that was introduced. And 11GR2 automatic block corruption repair introduced. And then in 12C, there is a very good feature which is introduced: far sync, fast sync, and real-time cascading, and sysdg. And after that, it introduced using current log file. And when you perform switchover on Oracle RAC primary database to a physical standby, it is no longer necessary to shut down all but one primary database instance. So that is the good thing in 12C. And application continuity is supported for Oracle Data Guard, switchovers to physical standby databases. And it also supports fast start failover to physical standby in maximum availability data production mode. So that is 12C things. So I have added 12C R1 and R2 both, and rolling upgrade with active data guard introduced, and DBMS rolling introduced, and additional data type support introduced, and DML on global temporary table introduced. Temporary undo is introduced, enables DML on global temporary tables on active data guard is used. Active data guard is basically that data guard which is used for query purpose also. So that is the feature which is very good. And you can set by default on active data guard standby from 12C. And unique sequences, you can use primary allocate unique range of sequence number to each standby, enables more flexible reporting choices for active data guard. So that was 12C. Now in 18C, it introduced global temporary tables can now be dynamically created on Oracle Active Guard standby database. Blockchain tracking is supported with multi-instance redo apply, and metadata for private temporary tables can be stored in memory, and database buffer cache state is now maintained in Oracle Active Data Guard standby during a role change. And in 19C, DML operation can be performed on active data guard standby instances, and in-memory column store and data guard multi-instance redo apply at same time, you can do that. And flashback a point in time recovery, you can do that. And flashback a physical standby at point in time, you can do that. So these are the evaluation which occur from 7.3 to 19C, and in 20C nothing has done. I have checked the documentation, so nothing introduced in 20C, so that's why I didn't add it in my slide. Okay, so this is the thing about evaluation. Now come to how Oracle Data Guard configuration happened. So in that, one primary database is there, and then standby database is there. Redo will transfer. Okay, so first it will store in the standby redo log if you configure, and then it will apply the redo on the standby database, and that is for disaster recovery, database backup operation, you can use that. So what is Oracle Data Guard configuration? Basically, in Oracle Data Guard configuration, which contain one primary database and up to 30 standby databases, and the members of Data Guard configuration are connected by Oracle Net, and you can place all standby on different location, and there are no restriction on where the members of Oracle Data Guard configuration are located, as long as they can communicate with each other. So suppose you have a standby database in the same data center as the primary database, along with the two standby databases, another data center. So you can do that. So if suppose you have one production, one is standby in one location, and two standby on different location on different database and data center. So you can do this type of configuration also. Okay, but actually your standby database should be on different data center and different city as well as different country also, so that will be good configuration. But for that you require a good connectivity. Otherwise, if connectivity is not good, then your data will not transfer appropriately, and your standby is lagging behind the production. Okay, so you can manage and primary standby by the SQL command line interface or Oracle Data Guard broker interfaces. So broker command line interfaces is called as DGMGRL. So I hope you all worked on DGMGRL, or you manage only through SQL command line interfaces. So in primary database, actually Oracle is referred to as behave as a primary role, and primary database is the database that is accessed by most of your application, and primary database can be a single instance or can be a rack, so it depends. So you can provide data guard with rack, more high availability, more higher production, more higher scalability to your database or to your client. Okay, and in Oracle Data Guard configurations, another component is standby. So standby is basically a transactional consistent copy of the primary database. Means whatever transaction is going on primary database, same will happen on standby database also. Okay, but it depends on the way which you had configured when you are configuring standby. Okay, so the fastest configuration or best configuration is real-time apply. So that is the good configuration, but for that you required more additional things, and that one thing I can say that is required is standby redo log control file. So that I will not cover here. Most probably I will cover in another session, because it will too much in terms of slides and all. So using a backup copy of primary database, you can create a standby database, and Oracle Data Guard automatically maintain each standby database by transmitting redo data and then applying the redo data on the standby. That is the main concept. And similar to primary database, standby database can also a single instance or rack. So it depends. Okay, so if you see Oracle Data Guard configuration, so here primary database is there, and after that redo log buffer is there, and LGWR is there, and online redo log file is there, and ARCN process is there, and iArchive log file is there, right? And another process you are seeing LNSN, okay. And then on the standby side you have RFS process, and when you have real-time applied, then it requires standby redo log file, as I said. And then after that ARC0 archiver process is there, then archive redo log is there. Then after that data is going to MRP or LSP, and there by that your data will be applied on the standby databases. Okay, so this is the basic overall architecture, where you have LGWR process, LNSN process, RFS process, and MRP or LSP process is there. So this is about Oracle Data Guard architecture. If you see the process wise, so see that. So what is the work of LGWR? LGWR basically collect the transaction, as everyone knows, from redo log buffer and updates the online redo logs. Okay, and suppose you are using sync or synchronous standby database, then LGWR passes the redo to the LNS. Okay, that is log writer network server process. That is the name of LNS. Okay, and that ships the redo directly to the remote file server, that is RFS. So RFS name is remote file server, that reside on the standby sites. And then LGWR waits for confirmation from the LNS process before acknowledge the commit. So if you are doing the synchronization between LGWR and LNS, so both will be wait for confirmation. If suppose you are doing a synchronous standby database configuration, so independently LNS process read the redo from either the redo log buffer in memory or the online redo log file of the database of the production or primary, and then it will ship to the redo to the standby. And other than starting the asynchronous LNS process, LGR has no interaction with LNS or asynchronous standby destination, right? So LNS can take a data from redo log buffer or can take a data from redo log file. Okay, but better is it should take from the redo log buffer. So did you get it? These two things, LGWR, LNS, and RFS, and synchronous and asynchronous. You have any doubt in that? So I can repeat. Say yes or no in the chat room. Anyone that can say that? Yeah, answer. Thank you. So now, what is ARCN? Actually, ARCN process, as everyone knows, that flush the redo data from redo log file to the archive log file. So ARCN is also responsible for shipping the redo data to RFS process, remote file server, if you see the diagram, and for proactively detecting and resolving gaps on a standby database. And from 11G release to we have 30 ARCN process, as if you know. If you don't know, then you can update yourself. And by default, how many ARCN process is available from 11G R2? Anyone can tell? No idea. By default, 4. By default, please don't speak, write in chat room. By default, 4 ARCN process will enable. Okay, so LGWR is clear, ARCN is clear. Got it? Now, as I said, remote file server is receive the redo from the primary and can write the redo either in the standby redo log file or directly to archive redo log files. It depends on the configuration. And each LNS and ARCN process from the database has its own RFS process. So that is very important. And the use of standby redo log file I'm not taking here because it is another very vast concept. And also we have ARCN process on the standby side also. And the another process is MRP. So what it will do, MRP process? MRP process is basically uh, uh, applies the archive redo log information to the standby. If you start manage recovery with the command alter database recovery manage standby database SQL statement, and this foreground session performs the recovery. If you use the optional disconnect from session clause, then MRP background process starts. If you use the data guard broker to manage your standby database, then broker always start the MRP background process for a physical standby database. So that is the difference, right? And then LSP process, logical standby. So for logical standby database, LSP controls the application of archive redo log information of the logical standby databases. So this is these four processes involved in that. ARCN is common on both the sides, and LNS, RFS, MRP, or LSP, and LGWR. So I hope all processes are clear, or should I repeat? Repeat. What you did not get. See, when transaction happens, just a second, I'm opening a pen, a pointer. See, when transaction happens, so redo is generated. Redo will store in redo log buffer, and from redo log buffer, your data directly transfer or taken by LNSN process, and LNSN process to give the RFS. If normal standby database configuration happens, so it will apply on the here. Okay, it will apply to this, and if real time apply, then it will apply to standby redo log, and from standby redo log it will transfer to MRP for physical standby, and for logical LSP process will do the activity. So this is the one case. And in synchronization, LGWR wait for LNS for confirmation, then LGWR write another entries, otherwise LGWR will wait. So your production transaction will wait, so your data loss can happen. So that's why as in synchronous you have to think about that. And if asynchronous configuration happen, then LNS write independently and LGWR write independently, no acknowledgement between these two, so nothing loss is on danger on the production side. So that's why in asynchronous this is the good thing. And again, same RFS will take the things, and either it will apply on the redo, or otherwise it will store by the archive log file, and then it will apply to the standby. If real time is enabled, then it will store in the redo log standby file, which is another redo, and then from there the MRP process will take it and apply it. So in physical database, MRP will involve, and in logical standby, LSP process will involve to apply the redo on the standby database. So that I had said about this. Not clear? See, it depends on your configuration, what you are taking about that, and it depends on your mode of what is required. So I'm coming to that in further slide, then you will easily understand. Now come to standby database process. So as I said, same thing about standby database process. So we have RFS, we have MRP, we have LSP, and we have ARCN process, right? So standby, we have RFS and MRP, LSP, and ARCM, right? So 1 process, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and in terms of production of primary, 1, 2, and 3, like that. Okay. Now, how many types of standby database? We have 3 types of standby databases. One is physical standby, another one is logical, and another one is snapshot standby database. So these are the 3 standby databases. So let's begin with physical standby. Physical standby is basically copy of the primary database. That is one thing. And on disk database structure, that is block to block basis is same. So database schema indexes are the same. So physical standby is synchronized with the primary database through redo apply, which recovers the redo data received from the primary database and then apply redo data to the physical standby. So this is the things involved. And another thing is that from 11G1, physical standby can receive and apply redo while it is open for read-only access. So that's why from 11G, logical standby database requirement is less, and physical standby therefore can be used for data protection and reporting. And from release 11.201, physical standby database can be used to install one-off patches, patch set updates PSU, and critical patch update CPUs in rolling fashion. So that is very important things introduced in 11.201. And if you see the structure here, redo will transport and then redo will apply. So this is the basic mechanism where redo will transfer from a primary to standby, and standby become identical with physical with the primary database. Now logical standby is also physical and structure of the data, but that can be different. That is the things which is important. And logical standby redo will apply through SQL apply, means it will receive the redo from the primary database and then it will convert into SQL statement, and then these SQL statement will execute on the standby database. Then standby database become identical with primary database. So that is the major difference between logical and physical. And logical standby database, you can upgrade Oracle database software and perform other database maintenance in rolling fashion with almost no downtime. And from 11G onward, transient logical database rolling upgrade process can also be used with existing physical standby database. So that is the another important feature introduced. And see here, redo will transport, and then redo will transport and it will convert into SQL statement, and then SQL statement will execute on the standby databases. So this is the basic difference if anyone is asking what is the difference between physical and logical. Clear, guys? Now the third is the snapshot standby database. I hope my pace is okay. I'm not going fast. So standby database is basically a carbon copy of the physical, and it is fully updatable. And snapshot standby database receive and archive redo from a primary database. But unlike a physical or logical, snapshot standby does not apply the redo data that it received. So redo data, whatever it is received, it will not apply until the snapshot standby database convert back into the physical standby database. So the important thing is that how snapshot configure, you will convert physical standby database into snapshot standby, and after that, if you again convert back to physical, then redo will apply on the physical standby. So that is the thing. Now see, this is the snapshot thing. So see, MRP process is not working. So your snapshot is not updating. Only whatever transaction is coming, it will storing in the standby and then archive redo log files. Right? Clear this concept? Okay, another important thing of a snapshot, it is used in scenario that require a temporary updatable snapshot of a physical standby. Suppose Oracle RAC testing option to capture the database workload on a primary and then replay it for test purpose on the snapshot. Okay, so this is the best example. And because redo received by a snapshot standby database is not applied until it is converted back to physical standby, so that time need to recover from a primary database failure is directly proportional amount of redo that needs to be applied. So whatever the time your snapshot is exists, till that time whatever redo is coming, that will apply, or that will take the time of applying those redo that this statement is saying. Clear? Archives where stored in snapshot, as I said, see that in archive redo log files. Sir, can logical to physical or vice versa possible? No. Now in 12C we have far sync concept, basically far sync instance. So this far sync instance is a remote Oracle data guard destination that basically accept the redo from the primary database and then ship the redo to other member of the Oracle data guard configuration. So far sync manage a control file, receive redo into standby redo logs, and archive those standby redo logs to local archive redo logs. But that is where the similarity with the standby ends. And far sync instance does not have user data file, cannot be open for access, cannot run redo apply, can never function in the primary role, or be converted to any type of standby database. So this is the important point with far sync instance if you are using. So far sync instance as a part of Oracle Active Data Guard feature, which requires Active Data Guard license. Okay, otherwise you will not get this feature. So if you see the figure, so here primary is there, and with synchronous data is coming, and with asynchronous it is going to standby. So this is operational flow. And if you see zero data loss here, no compromise between availability and performance, if you see this figure. And zero data loss challenge is happen when synchronized communication leads to performance trade-off. So suppose when I was talking about that LNS will wait for this LGWR wait for confirmation. So this is the way acknowledgement will go and come from primary to standby. So whenever longer distance is there, then the performance will impact. Okay, so that's why you need to think about that for synchronous IO or synchronous mechanism. And if you have asynchronous, so nothing to worry about. Some data loss exposure upon disaster. Okay, so that is data loss asynchronous. So what is the benefit of far sync? Far sync is lightweight Oracle instance, standby control file, standby redo logs, archive redo logs, no data file, and receive redo synchronously from primary and forward redo asynchronous in real time, right? So that is the difference. And upon failover, asynchronous standby obtained last committed redo from parsing and apply zero data loss failover. And second, parsing instance can be pre-configured to transmit in reverse direction, and terminal standby required to be active data guard standby. So these are the things for zero data loss for asynchronous deployments. Okay. So too much about this parsing. So I cannot cover in introduction. So that's why I have added only these two things. Now we know that if suppose any gap happens, then automatic gap detection and resolution can happen in your standby database. So how it will be? So if connectivity is suppose lost between the primary database and one or more standby database, so redo data that is being generated on the primary database cannot be sent to those standby because of net connection disturb. So when connection re-established, data guard automatically deducts that there are missing archive log files referred as a gap. Okay, and then automatically transmit the missing archive redo log file to the standby database by using the ARCN process. So if you see the red mark of ARCH ping, so the standby database are synchronized with the primary database without manual intervention by the DB. So this is automatic deduction and resolution happen in your standby. Now come to another important concept, data protection mode. So basically, or redo transfer mode. So data protection mode require a specific redo transport mode. So redo transport mode alone does not define a data protection mode. So you need to both the things together. So if you see the diagram, one plane is going on, and below there is one truck, and in between that DBA is standing. So good picture of Oracle book that I have got it. And now first three types of protection we have: maximum protection, maximum availability, and maximum performance. So can anyone tell me which is by default? Performance. Okay. Performance. Okay. So let's begin with protection. So maximum protection means no data loss occur if the primary side fails. Okay, redo must be written to online redo log on the primary side as well as standby redo log. Okay, on at least one synchronized standby side before the transaction commit. So that is the condition. So that's why data protection is too much. And primary site will be shut down if redo transmission to at least one standby fail. So that is compulsory things happen. If suppose you have 4 standby databases, and in 4 standby databases your redo is not applying, then your production or primary will shut down. Got it? You get it this point in terms of production? And all three production mode require specific redo transport option to be used to send redo data at least to one standby database. Okay. And now what is maximum availability? Maximum availability is about highest level of production without compromising the availability of primary database. So transaction on the primary do not commit until all the redo is either received in memory or written to standby redo log and at least on standby side. This is the one condition. Downgrades to maximum performance mode if standby are unreachable to preserve the primary database availability. So from availability to performance, can happen if standby are not reachable. Got it? So synchronized data transfer needs acknowledgement about redo transfer if you are using, and it ensures zero data loss. So that is maximum availability, right? And the last, you said maximum performance is the default. So that is the correct answer. And it provides highest level of data production without affecting the performance of primary. Transaction commit as soon as data written on the redo log on the primary side. Redo is transmitted on the standby asynchronously. No acknowledgement is required. So slightly less data production than maximum availability, right? So this is the less data production, and after that availability, and then after that maximum production. So in performance, the chances of data loss is more, and then in availability lesser, and in production more protected. Got it? So these three things clear. Now see the production mode transport mechanism you can use. So for maximum performance you required, so you have to use asynchronous transport things, and when you have availability, so you use synchronous. When you have maximum protection, so obviously you have to use sync transport mechanism. Clear? Now what is hardware and operating system requirement? A primary database system and a standby system may be have different CPU architecture wise, operating system wise, binary wise, and Oracle database binary wise. But many restrictions also you have to consider. Okay, so this is the hardware and operating system requirement. Now in terms of software requirement, what is that? Primary and standby database must have same home database version, include the patches. Compatible parameters should be set to same on all DBs in the database data configuration. Primary database must in archive log mode with force logging option. Primary database can be single or rack. Standby database can be single or rack, or mix of physical, logical, and standby. And sysdg, sysdba privileges need for the management, and the recommended use either use ASM or OMF for operational simplicity, means administration purpose. You can use either ASM or OMF in your data guard configurations. Clear? Now services, as I said, we have redo transport services, we have apply services, we have role transition. So Oracle Data Guard uses redo transport services and apply services to manage the transmission of redo data, the application of redo data, and the changes to the database role. So redo transport services basically control the automated transfer of redo data from the production to the standby. And apply services, redo data is applied directly from standby redo log file as they are filled using real-time apply. If standby redo log are not configured, then redo data must first archive on the standby side, and after that it will apply. So your primary and standby will not synchronous in this situation. Okay, and role transition, we knows that we have switch over and failover. Switch over we planned, and failover happen unplanned activity. Okay, so this is the two things in that. And in redo transport again, redo from primary to standby, manage the process of resolving any gaps due to a network failure, and automatically deduct missing or corrupted archive log, and retrieve archive log and apply on the standby. And apply services, as I said, either you use standby redo log file, or either you use normal archive files, and also either you use physical and logical. in that manner your the data will be work, or your data will be transferred. And for logical, SQL applied technology will be used, and for physical, redo applied technology will be used. Okay. Now physical standby, if you see that here, redo is transferring and redo is applying. But in terms of archive, sorry, logical, so redo is transferring, but it will convert into SQL statement, and then SQL statement will apply. Clear, guys? Now role transition, as I said, switchover basically a role reversal between the primary and standby. And switchover ensures no data loss because it is planned maintenance of the primary database. During the switchover, primary database become standby and standby become primary. Okay. And in failover, it is primary database is unavailable. So failover is performed when failure happen on primary database. And when failure happen, transition of standby database become primary, and database can reconfigure the primary and recover it. And after that, it may apply, it may change in primary, or otherwise it may take same as it is as a standby. So this is DBA's things when it perform recovery. So now what is data guard benefits? First, you will get high availability, you will give the data protection, you can use efficiently system resources, and you can provide data protection flexibility to balance availability and automatic gap reduction and resolution. And it is centralized and simple management, and it will integrate with your Oracle database and automatic role transition. So these are the Oracle data guard benefits if you configure in your standby. Clear? So that's it. Thank you. So that all about data guard configuration. So this is only I had covered 1%. So I hope this everything is clear to guys. Okay. So thank you for joining this session. And if you have any questions, please ask. Now I am stopping the recording.